Shannon, what do you think? Should Pollard be getting the majority of the carries at running back for Skip's Cowboys?
No. I believe the Cowboys are handling it the right way. Pollard has been with the Cowboys for 4 years, and he stayed relatively in the role that he had as a rookie. And I think that's the best role for him. He's not used to being an every down back. Zeke averages 19 carries a game. Tony Pollard averages 7 carries a game. He had the most carries he had ever had in a game on Sunday, 14. Now, you talk about Christian McCaffrey wearing down, he can take that pounding. You think you're going to be able to hand this guy the ball 20, 25 times a game and he not break that? I do not.
I do.
I believe he's a DH. There's a reason why the DH, all he does is hit home runs. They don't let him play the field. They don't let him do anything. They want him well rested so he can come in and hit home runs. That's what Tony Pollard's job is when Zeke softens the defense up, you come in and hit home runs.
Did Zeke soften up the Bears?
Hold on. So he's been there 4 years, and you're going to base everything that you want on one game?
Well, how many chances does he get to start a football
And why is
game?
that? Why is that?
You tell me when it's my turn.
We've seen a lot of guys. We've seen receivers. Oh, man, if he put him in the number one role, they go get the number one role, and then what happens, Skip? All of a sudden, they're not that guy. He's not a bell cow back. I understand he gives you splash, he gives you pizzazz. Yes, but if you allow this man to carry the ball 19 between, like Zeke averages 19 carries a game over the course of his career. You give this man 19, 25 carries a game. For the next 6 games, I guarantee you, he will not finish the season. He's not built like that. There's a reason why teams have 2 backs unless you got Derrick Henry. Now, if he was Derrick Henry's size, I'm like, you know what, Skip? He should be in there. Derrick Henry is 6'3", 245, 255. He's going up as I speak. Yes, but not this man, Skip. You can't run him like that. He's about the same size as Christian McCaffrey. And how does that work out when they give Christian McCaffrey all those carries, Skip? How did that work out for him? Exactly. You're going to be like, you're going to be like, why did they do that? They got Zeke. Let Zeke get some of those tough yardage. Why do you have to pound him in there like that? That is what Zeke's for. So, no, I like the 2-back system. It's working really well for them. And down the stretch, you're going to need both of these guys. You let Zeke hammer away, and when the defense is exhausted, they're tired of tackling Zeke, you let Tony Pollard hit a crease, and hopefully hits his head on the goalpost. So I agree with the way the Cowboys are actually operating it currently.
I think you're speaking from your Cowboy-hating heart here.
Skip, at the end of the day, they still going to have to, if to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to beat the Eagles. You're going to have to beat the 49ers. Okay?
We will beat the Eagles. We will beat the 49ers if Tony Pollard gets 20 touches as opposed to 4 or 5 touches.
First of all, you're not going to beat the 49ers if you can't stop the run. You're not going to beat the Eagles if you can't stop the run.
We're talking about the offense. It looked different on Sunday against, albeit the Bears. I got it, but it looked different because Tony Pollard is special. Tony Pollard is criminally underutilized. He is now stuck as the backup running back, the clear number 2, to an Ezekiel Elliott who is a favorite, like a son to Jerry Jones, who overpaid him and will not give it up. He will not swallow his pride and let go of the fact that Zeke, to this day, is the highest paid running back in pro football. He earned it for the first 3 years. Then he got paid for what he had done, past tense, as opposed to what he was about to do, because his production just kept going down, down, down over the next 3 years of the contract.
Skip, there was no indication to say that Zeke's production was going to fall off like it did, because he was only, 23 when he got the contract extension? So it wasn't like he was 25, 26. He's 26 now. I think he's 26 now. So there was no reason for Jerry to say, man, you know what? I think Zeke's best days is behind him as a 23-year-old.
His best days are unfortunately behind him. I used to love him to death. We did a commercial together, you and I, a Better Come Prepared commercial. And the opening scene is me leaping out of bed, already dressed to work out. I slept in my workout clothes, and you can see on my nightstand, I got a picture of Zeke.
Yeah.
Well, that's how much I did love him. But, hey, you got to keep proving, you got to keep earning my fandom love here, because I can't even recognize him. It's like he went to Cabo to hold out, and we saw a video of him running in Cabo sand to stay in shape.
Right.
And then it looked like he's still running Cabo Sand when he got into his first game for the Dallas Cowboys.
You told me this year he's going to go to 80 yards a game. You changed your mind?
I'm trying to hang on because I thought maybe this is a contract year for him. It's not officially a contract year, but they can cut him after this year without big cap danger, right?
You know what's going to happen. Jerry going to restructure the contract. Zeke is not getting cut. You know good well Jerry not cutting no Zeke.
But you could cut him without huge penalty after this year. So I thought effectively in the back of his mind, he's thinking this is a contract year. It's even beyond a contract year. You're not playing for a new contract. You're just playing to stay in the league.
He's going to get restructure that contract and be right with the Cowboys next year.
Okay. If he stays on the path he's been on so far this year and it goes just the way it's been going, I'm not sure Zeke's going to be in the league next year because if they did let him go, and you could be right, Jerry's he loves him so much like a son, and he's so proud of him because, remember, Jerry sees some of his long ago wayward self in Zeke, and I was his father figure, and I helped him beat his demons off the field. Well, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
And so Jerry just clings to that, and he clings to his pride that I paid him. No, you overpaid him.
Yes.
I paid him. I need some bang for my buck.
But Skip,
let's let him bang away.
You know how Jerry went to war with Roger Goodell over Zeke.
He did.
He was threatening to blow the whole damn thing up for Zeke because the guy got suspended for 6 games. He's like, no.
He reportedly confronted Lisa Friel in a league meeting and said, there is nothing there. There's nothing there.
And he also told us, you gonna kill the golden goose.
Mm-hmm. That's true. He did say that. Okay.
So we know how Jerry feels about, and maybe you're right, Skip. Maybe it's blind loyalty. Maybe because Zeke has been so good for those first 3 years, there was no running back better, and that's what Jerry sees. And maybe in Jerry's mind, Zeke can get that back. But we know running backs, history tells us, running backs don't dip, and then all of a sudden come back up.
Okay, I got that. So back to Skip Pete, the running backs coach, and I love his first name. It's the all-time greatest first name.
That's Rodney Pete's brother.
Is his father?
No, Willie.
Willie's
Willie
father.
is his father.
I got it.
Skip and Rodney are brothers.
Got it. I got it. He's making the case that he learned football from the late, great Al Davis, who I learned a lot of football from. And he said that the whole philosophy of the Raiders was you have to have 2 at that position. I will agree with that. But somebody has to get the majority of the carries. Yeah. Somebody has to be your bell cow, or at least your number 1, RB1, right? That you have to start and finish games with. Zeke is still playing the starter role and the finisher role.
Right.
And, again, Skip's idea is that he, as he called him, it's the sword and the sledgehammer, okay? But he's the sledgehammer. My problem is, as a fan, I am mentally worn out watching them try to establish the run with Zeke early in games to create play action for Dak or in the past for Cooper Rush. And Shannon, you know how it feels. Like, first down, none. Let's try it again. Second down, 2. And all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8. And I'm like, I got us a lot of places, right? We're behind the chains again.
Now we know it's going to pass.
Okay?
Go through the ball.
Now let's see. Next series, he goes 1, and then he goes -1, and then he goes 2, and then he goes 0.
Right.
And he goes 1, and then maybe he breaks one for all of 4 yards. And you say, there he is. There's old Zeke. Right. And I can't see him anymore because the bell cow back has turned into a plow horse back to me. And he's still, the reason Jerry loves him, the reason the locker room loves him is he's got warrior spirit. He will run through brick walls, or at least try to. And remember, he has played hurt for the last 2 years, and now, once again, he's got another sprain of another knee ligament. And reportedly last year, he played 2/3 of the season, the last 2/3, with a sprained, I think it was a PCL. Okay? So they love him for that. I love him for that. But it doesn't get me anywhere when I have an alternative sitting there who got to be RB1 this past Sunday. This is a home run waiting to happen every carry, and it can be between the tackles. So he doesn't run to contact. He has a little bit, I'm not saying he's Emmitt Smith, but he's got a little bit more of make you miss. He's got more wiggle than Zeke has because Zeke just tries to overpower you now. He just tries to outwill you. I'm tougher. I'm mentally and physically tougher than you are. And it creates a lot of 2-yard runs. It's like 2 yards in a cloud of dust with Zeke.
So your car is running perfect. So you want to tinker with something, even though it's not broken. You want to fix it.
Well, it felt broken to me because I'm going to remind you, Cooper Rush kept winning games with Zeke trying to establish the run because Cooper Rush was really good at play action.
Right.
And nobody was really respecting the play action by the time they got to Philadelphia because Philly's saying, seriously?
Yeah, because
we're afraid of 21. We're not afraid of him.
Well, because you couldn't run the football, and so we're going to stack the line because we don't believe your quarterback can beat us throwing the football. Now teams got to play you more honest because they believe Dak can beat them throwing the football. And so, Jerry said that, hey, Zeke, I don't know if Zeke is not the same player that he once was. But, Skip, you have to establish some resemblance of a run game. And if you can do that, Dak is as good. Dak is a very good play-action quarterback.
Yeah, so was Cooper Rush. He lived on it. He lived on it.
Cooper Rush was a novelty, okay?
Look at the degree of difficulty of his wins versus the two Dak just won.
He's a novelty. Go to Spencer. You know what Spencer's is. It's a novelty store.
Well, here's the point. Dak's season hasn't started yet. Let's see what he does at Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers has owned us. Let's see at Minnesota. Let's see the Giants on Thanksgiving. Let's see Philadelphia on Christmas Eve. Let's see.
Green Bay has owned the Cowboys at Lambeau. They own Roger Staubach. They own all your quarterbacks. If you just look, and Dak is the only one. That's the only quarterback I think that's probably got to win at Lambeau
as a rookie with a lot of help from number 21.
Whoa! No, you didn't mention these like, oh yeah, Zeke, but you see my quarterback. You was hyping. That's when you started that foolishness. How about my Cowboys?
Well, I did because it came out of that. Talk about falling out of heaven in my lap out of the fourth round, right?
Well, guess what? Ain't nothing else falling.
I got a stat for you. I'm not big on stats, but I got one for you. I got one for you. So Zeke, his carries per game have gone down a little bit. He's 16 a game, 16 touches of carrying the football. I'm not talking about catching, just carrying.
Yes.
16. Tony Pollard averages 10 carries. Not bad, but clearly the number 2 back. Would you believe that in those 10 carries, he's averaging 6.2 yards per carry?
Yeah.
Would you believe for any running back in the league with at least 80 carries on the season, that leads the NFL?
Yeah.
6.2 leads the NFL. What does that say? It says more.
No, Skip, see, that's the thing. You don't understand moderation. See,
I don't.
You're the guy.
True.
If you do things in moderation, you can have whatever you want. It's when you overindulge. And what you're trying to do, you're trying to overindulge yourself with Tony Pollard when he's not that type of a back.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay for him to give you those 10 carries for those 62 shot yards that he gives you. And Zeke gives you 16 carries for what, 65, 70 yards. Okay, that's fine. But when you start trying to reverse those roles, you're asking for trouble. Now, I'm telling you now, I'm trying to save you from yourself. You don't realize it.
I'm trying to save the offense from itself because Skip Pete goes on and on about how Zeke is still a very physical downhill runner. I give you that, but it's going nowhere slowly. And Skip keeps making, I can't believe I'm saying that name out loud, but Mr. Pete keeps making the point that he can wear a defense down. At what price to my offense? Because I see too many none-yard runs, as John Madden used to say.
But that's what you need, Skip.
Okay, you don't need it because here's the point. Jerry did nothing on offense at the trade deadline. He did get Jonathan Hankins on defense, and I said it was a big little move. But there was no splash on offense. I still say they need to just go get Odell. And I think Jerry just might go get Odell because that would be the kind of splash move that Jerry would pull off, that he would love. And I think the locker room would love that move. But the point is, you can add a Pro Bowl player on offense if you just elevate Tony Pollard into RB1. If you start giving him the 16 carries a game and reduce Zeke to 10, just flip the roles, then I think Tony Pollard has a legitimate shot at making a Pro Bowl. I think if you start throwing the ball to Tony Pollard, who I watched a lot at Memphis, Shannon, he was a slot receiver.
Right.
He caught a ton of balls. They would just split him out. It was not all the way out, but just use him in the slot.
Yeah.
Well, so far, so bad throwing him the football because he's had 19 targets so far, 12 catches for 121 yards. So he's only caught 12 balls through 8 games.
Right.
Well, that's like 1.5 catches per game. Guess what he averages per catch? 10.1 yards.
Right.
Well, doesn't that scream more? I just say he needs to touch the ball 20 times a game, give him 15 or 16 carries and 4 or 5 passes, and he's going to hurt people because he is an escape artist waiting to happen.
So you believe that he's that if we give him more touches, he'll be able to hold up over the course of the
I do. And again, Mr. Pete talked about how the race car, he's more like a race car, will run out of gas. And he said even against the Bears after the 54-yarder, he said, I'm done. Okay, that's because he's not in game shape because he doesn't play that much.
Skip, he's in the shape to be used how he's going to use. So imagine if you get him and you work him to get him in that kind of shape, Skip.
Okay. Christian McCaffrey runs to contact too much for my liking. I cringe for that kid. At San Francisco the other day, I'm like, don't. I mean, it was at L.A., obviously. Right. But I'm like, no, because every time he smashes it up the middle, I'm thinking, that you're asking for it because you are too small. Tony Pollard doesn't smash it up the middle. He wiggles, he squirms.
And that's what you need on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1. Is somebody to smash it up the middle, and that's what Zeke does. He does that so Tony Pollard can do what he does.
Boy, I don't know.
I know.
I think he's gifted. I think he's special, and I think he's woefully, criminally underutilized.
Everybody has a role.
Okay, but you want to relegate him to the wrong role?
No, it ain't the wrong role. It's not the wrong role. My job, me and my brother's job, Saturday, the grass cut, leaves rake.
Yeah.
My sister and them, helping my grandma cook, clean the house.
Okay,
everybody had a role.
Those are equal roles.
He got an equal role.
Okay.
That's what his role is.
He does not have an equal role.
His role is to get 10 carries a game, maybe a catch or two. That's what his role is.
No, he's a subsidiary.
And if you think about it, Skip, they have relieved him of his duties on special teams because of Turpin. So now he's even fresher. There you go.
Remember what he did on Thanksgiving last year to the Raiders? Do you remember that?
Who, Tony Pollard?
Yeah.
He housed it.
He housed it on a kickoff return.
Yeah.
He is special, man.
And David Carr came right back out there. David Carr came right back out there and did something bad to y'all.
He did something bad because Dak didn't do anything bad.
Now you blaming Dak again.
Yeah. Threw it behind Noah Brown on 3rd and 4 or whatever it was.
Like you actually thought Noah was going to catch it anyway.
Well, he caught him from Cooper Rush. I don't know how. Yeah, maybe it's a Cooper Rush factor. I don't know.
Well, the Cooper Rush didn't have no rapport with C.D. Lamb, and then you was upset about that. Now Dak come back in, and he gets a rapport with C.D. Lamb. Now all of a sudden you still hollering Cooper Rush.
Shannon, it is time to pass one torch. Not the quarterback torch. It's time to pass the running back torch to Tony Pollard. He could TP this league. That's what he could do.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yep.
Well, guys, the Cowboys have to decide not only for this season, but for the immediate future as well. Pollard's playing on that rookie contract, and he's a free agent at the end of this season.
They don't pay running backs big money anymore.
All right.
Skip.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.